Greetings and welcome to yet another edition of
Positronic.
Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. So I just made a video the other day about The Walking Dead, which came back for one episode Sunday night. And I was talking about the timeline of the series and comparing it to the timeline presented on the new series, I should say the new limited series, Walking Dead: A World Beyond. And it turns out, y'all, I made a mistake. I forgot about the 5 to 6 year time jump that took place recently. So I had said that the show only covered about 7 years of real time, even though it's been on for 10 years. That's incorrect. The first 8 seasons takes up just under 5 years of real time. And then there was an 18-month time jump. And then there was a 5 to 6 year time jump. So if you figure that was a 5-year time jump or a 5.5-year time jump and you add it all up, you get about 12 and a half years. So not 7 years, like I said, 12 and a half years. That's interesting in light of the new series because the new series takes place 10 years after the start of the zombie apocalypse. The Walking Dead starts at the zombie apocalypse and has depicted 12 years of life in that world. So I had originally thought that A World Beyond depicted a future, from the standpoint of where we are timeline-wise on The Walking Dead, but it doesn't. It would seem to reflect the past. So that's interesting because, there's a more formalized government entity in World Beyond than we've ever seen on the original Walking Dead show. And they're still using motor vehicles, including helicopters. Whereas on The Walking Dead, they've sort of gone beyond that capability and into a territory where they have to ride horses because there's no more fuel. So what does that mean for the future of this show? It's only supposed to be 2 seasons, 20 total episodes, but are they going to hit a wall where they can no longer use vehicles? And if that's so, it kind of seems strange that they would make the show because I don't know, it seems when you're watching it as though it depicts a time ahead of the regular Walking Dead where, okay, there's a formalized government that at least exists regionally, and there are survivor camps with, 10,000 people, which would seem to indicate that a lot of time has gone by, relative to where we are in the original Walking Dead timeline, where, maybe, smaller groups have come together to the point where now there are 10,000 people, and where things have coalesced to a point where, okay, there's a functional government of some kind that's, performing the tasks, at least the kind of tasks that a military would perform. And, survivor colonies are making alliances with it. So I don't know why they would depict that in a time frame that's behind the time frame of the regular show. I mean, it's a completely different region. The Walking Dead takes place like in Georgia, in the American South, and World Beyond takes place in Nebraska, so completely different part of the country. So it's certainly possible that things are at different speeds in different parts of the country, but it just seems confusing because in the end, all these shows have to coalesce in the same place. Chances are World Beyond won't end in the same place where, the original Walking Dead is going to end, because I don't think in 2 seasons they're going to jump 2 years into the future and meld with, or 3 years by the time we get through season 11, into the future and dovetail with the original series. But it just seems like it sticks out like a sore thumb now because it's in the past. And, I know that Fear the Walking Dead started out a little bit before the events of the zombie apocalypse. So that show is kind of playing catch up as well. But I don't know. They've got to dovetail at least two of these shows at some point, even if Fear the Walking Dead continues on after The Walking Dead ends. It's got to sort of go to the same place. Again, I don't, you know what? I don't watch that show. I watched the first 3 episodes because it depicted life before the apocalypse occurred, and I really wanted to see that. But then it just became The Walking Dead Part 2, so I stopped watching it. But I don't think it's Georgia. It's a different part of the country, so I guess it would make sense that it would go in a different direction. But to the point that I watched, events seemed very similar once things started to get going. And in the promos I've seen for it, the show seems to be going about things in the same way that The Walking Dead is going about them. So I don't know how they're gonna dovetail everything at some point if that show continues on. I don't know. Maybe when The Walking Dead ends, I'll have to start watching Fear the Walking Dead to see where humanity, at least in the United States, ends up. Because that show could go on, to show us year 13, year 14, year 15, and so on since the zombie apocalypse, because it hasn't been running as long. And if it runs as long as the original Walking Dead, it'll maybe get there, depending on how far behind they were. And I think it's only a couple of years. Anyway, I goofed. The timeline for The Walking Dead is a 12-year period, not a 7-year period. And I wanted to clear that up so that I don't seem like a person who's completely oblivious, even if I only catch up after the fact. So anyway, that's that. I want to talk about some Star Trek stuff. The Lower Decks wrapped up its first season today. So I'm going to talk about that episode. Before we get to that, though, I want to get to some breaking news. Kate Mulgrew has been cast to play Captain Catherine Janeway, or Catherine Janeway anyway, on the new Star Trek show, Star Trek Prodigy, which is going to run on Nickelodeon. I had thought she had become an admiral, so we'll have to see what's happening. It seems like, from what they've said, which hasn't been much, that she's going to be captaining a ship, which one can do as an admiral in Starfleet. But maybe it takes place between the time she got home and the time she became an admiral. I don't know. We don't know. We shall see. But I like Kate Mulgrew. I like the Janeway character. So hopefully it'll be good. We don't know. It's Kurtzman Trek, right? So, but only time will tell. So I am reservedly excited, if that's a thing, for Prodigy now that I know a little bit more about it, now that I know that Kate Mulgrew is involved. I think she's a great actress. I loved her in Orange is the New Black, as well as on Star Trek. So we'll see where it goes, but that's the breaking news. But let's get to the Lower Decks. They just had their season finale, and I didn't even bother to take note of the title, so maybe I'll put it up over here somewhere. But, I don't know. There are a lot of problems with it. I'm looking over here at my notes and just shaking my head. A bunch of stuff happens in this episode where basically the Cerritos has gone to Planet Beta 3, and they've noticed that the people there have started worshiping the computer again. Leandrew, I guess his name is, after, Kirk and Spock had been there previously and got them to stop doing that, and now they're doing it again. And then they get a distress call from a ship that has been attacked and, in fact, destroyed by the Packlets, who have, since we've last seen them, adopted technology from a bunch of other species. I thought I saw the Klingon and the Borg symbols on the screen when the Cerritos was looking at the technology they'd adopted. And they've started just completely taking ships that they encounter apart. Whether they're occupied or not occupied or whatever, they don't seem to care. So, of course, the Cerritos gets trapped in this situation, and their ship is being taken apart. and it's being boarded by the pack lads, and hilarity ensues, unfortunately. So a bunch of stuff happens. They're trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to get the intruders off the ship? They're running around in the hallways trying to get to the armory. Why? They have site-to-site transport on the ship. Why can't they transport to the armory? Now, it's true, their shields have been taken down. They might have lost some power. One of the nacelles was ripped off, but like the lights are on, and you know, every other system that they tried to engage worked, except for communications, because they were being jammed and the weapons had been taken out. And obviously they couldn't go anywhere with a missing nacelle. But why didn't they just beam to the armory? I don't understand it. So that bothered me. At one point, there's a conversation that the first officer has with Mariner, where he literally says, "The reason I'm hard on you is because you make me hard." And then he goes, "I don't mean hard, or something like that. You know, hard. Not that I'm hard now. It's hard." And he keeps saying hard. And the obvious joke, you know, is that he's talking about getting hard. And I want to know why. Why are they doing this on a Star Trek show? Why? It has no place on a Star Trek show, especially coming from a Starfleet officer. It's completely absurd, and I'm not offended by it. I think that joke would be hilarious on any other show. It doesn't belong in Star Trek. And I'm offended on behalf of Star Trek that they would reduce it to such a friggin' childish joke. Vulgar joke, really, on a starship being made by a Starfleet officer to another Starfleet officer. Terrible, 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 terrible. At the end of the episode, spoiler alert, Riker shows up with the Titan to save the day. And yes, Jonathan Frakes did the voice. And yes, he's with Deanna Troi, who is voiced in the episode by Marina Sirtis, which is pretty cool. But, you know, they can't resist making jokes of these characters, which I don't appreciate at all. But worse than that, they're wearing the uniforms that they would have been wearing around the time that Insurrection came out, around the time that Deep Space Nine went off the air. And I want to know why. Why? Why are they wearing those uniforms, and the crew of the Cerritos and every other Starfleet ship or base or whatever that we've seen so far on lower decks is wearing the newer uniforms? Now, I know that when new uniforms are being phased in, not every ship, not every installation is going to get them at the same time. But is that what this is? We're just supposed to go, oh, the Titan still has older uniforms than the crew of the Cerritos. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, especially when we've seen Mariner. Who even cares? Mariner in that same uniform in a flashback from when she was on a different ship. So wherever she was, they had those uniforms too. And then she is now on the Cerritos and has a different uniform. But that's because of the passage of time, right? Or are they trying to say that different ships have different uniforms, which we know they wouldn't, except for a situation where, okay, a uniform change hasn't made it all the way over to XYZ installation or XYZ ship. I'm just not buying that that's what's happening. If they had said it out loud, maybe, but to sort of just assume that, it's sloppy. It's sloppy. They should have explained it, or they should have had them wear the new uniforms that the crew of the Cerritos is wearing. Let's see. At the end, Boimler gets a promotion. This part of this episode is about if Boimler or Mariner, whatever the frack her name is going to get a promotion. And it ends up being Boimler. He gets promoted, but he automatically gets a transfer to the Titan. Why? Those are two separate things. You might be up for a transfer and you might be up for a promotion. You wouldn't be up for both at the same time, generally speaking. I mean, there's no reason you couldn't be, but that's not something we've seen before, and it would be strange. And I just don't understand why they would do that. Line a transfer and a promotion up as if they occur as the same event, which again, they can, but they usually don't. So why did they do that? Why didn't they just depict him getting a transfer? I don't understand. At one point, and I'm going back and forth all over the episode because this is how I took my notes. At one point, the Cerritos is only first approaching the situation where the other ship has been destroyed. And they run into a massive debris field that is the other ship, and presumably other ships that have been destroyed and pulled apart by the Packleds. But they come upon it and they go, oh, wow, debris field. Oh, shields up, evasive maneuver. Unless you're at warp, you're going to see the debris field coming. And in fact, they may even have seen it coming at warp. I forget how these things work, but the ships have sensors. They look for such stuff, and the crew would be alerted to a debris field that was in their path before they got to it. It's not the Millennium Falcon where it's just going to come out of hyperdrive into a debris field. That's not how these things usually work on Star Trek. They see these things in advance. So how is it that they came upon this debris field by surprise? I'm not buying it. At one point, like I said, they're fighting off Packlet intruders, and they engage in hand-to-hand combat with them because they never made it to the armory and they can't beam there. And they certainly can't have anyone in the armory, which one assumes is not unmanned, beam weapons to them, because that would be silly on a ship with site-to-site transporters. But they're engaged in this hand-to-hand combat. They don't ever say, force field, corridor XYZ in front of me, to block the Packlet off from being able to get to them, or for that matter, to contain them within a hallway by force fields on either side. Like, what? Why? Why did they do this? I don't know. At one point, they come up with a plan to board the Packlet ship. So the security chief, again, whose name I never bothered to learn, and I guess Rutherford, get on a shuttlecraft to go and do this, which is okay. But they launched the shuttlecraft through the forward decks of the saucer section of the Cerritos. Why? Why is a shuttlecraft anywhere near that part of the ship? I just don't understand. It's wrong. It shouldn't be that way. And please, if you're seeing this and I'm not thinking of something that would explain this, please let me know in the comments. You can email me. I'll put the email. Where am I putting it? Over here somewhere. You can tweet at me. Let me know. Say, hey, Barry, you're wrong. Federation starships always have shuttlecraft at the forward section of the saucer section of their ships. But that bothered me. Strangely, speaking of said security guy, he dies. Should I have said spoiler alert? Spoiler alert. Retroactively. He dies. They killed security guy. Unexpected. So I guess next season, if there is a next season, we're going to get a new security guy. Next season might take place on 2 ships, unless Boimler ends up back on the Cerritos. Will we see more Riker and Troy next season? Don't know. But one presumes a season 2 is coming. I haven't checked to see if it's been renewed. It probably has. They don't cancel anything over there. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. But didn't like this episode. There's a ton of references, a ton of jokes, in jokes related to Star Trek in general that are funny. And like I said in the past, would be funny truly if they were being made by the cast of The Big Bang Theory while they were playing Star Trek. But during actual Star Trek, it's not funny because it mocks Star Trek. And I'm okay with Star Trek being mocked in a funny way. It's part of our pop culture, and it can be, mocked gently as part of our pop culture, but not within itself. that's a fourth wall breaking type of thing that Star Trek doesn't do. And it isn't self-referential usually. But this show, that's all they do. And I don't like it. Will I watch season 2? Yep. Even though I hate it. I hate watch it. But anyway, that's that. Season 2 is coming for sure. Speaking of new seasons, Star Trek Discovery starts season 3 next week. Yay! I also hate watch that program. What I might do is do an episode review once a week on the channel, or I might wait, until it's 2 episodes, so I'm not doing a video a week. But 2 weeks is a long time to go in YouTube land, so maybe I will. Maybe I'll do one once a week when the new episodes air. Should be an interesting season, folks. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. I probably talked longer than I originally intended to, but I will be back with another video soon, next week for sure. And until then, my friends, peace and long life.